Morning.
Do you guys want copies of this?
If you have extras. Thank you. Otherwise, we can take notes.
Okay, I got a couple other things here too. I think I got messed up. I think we've got some more stuff. Oh, here we go. You said you wanted also a capital improvement. These are the three things I found.
Oh,
And I think somebody has one of the other copies.
yay. Here's a gold star, you're the first one to turn in.
Oh, no, here it is. The
There's
third one.
new stuff.
I do have the prices for the fire stuff too. It's right here. 1, 2,
Thank you.
and 3. Alrighty.
Thanks, Sam.
Let me start with my budget. With all the savings, things I've done to help try to make savings, I've been able to work with a lot of things. Because the meat of it's been able to stay the same, except for now, with the costs of from the city and the water and their sewer costs. I'm gonna have to ask for $3,000 additional on my water and on my utilities. Unless said they were gonna go and talk to the city council when they have their next meeting, because we are on a meter, and I don't think that we should be paying $750 for sewer rates for watering the grass. But that's how it's gonna work out, because they don't have anything else on it. And then the water rates are gonna go up on the $10 on the base this month, but they don't know what they're gonna do to metered people. So I'm expecting also increase on that too. So, and then to get Eric from his going from 32 hours and requesting to have him go back to 40 hours, and Debbie Kelly says it's approximately $9,000 with the COLA for the year, if it gets approved for the percentage. And then basically everything else stays the same except for CIP. I do have approximately 18.5 in there. I think that we need to look at maybe making sure we always try to keep 20 to 30,000 for any kind of major incidental cost, anything going out. Like the only thing I can see possibly would be a new HVAC at the dinner hall, only because it's really old. But I mean, we've been babying it and it seems to be working good. I don't see it going out. Fire systems. Now that one, the systems are out of date. So I got a couple of different proposals for the jail to redo the unit in the jail was $13,726. They're both the courthouse and the jail are out of date. They can't get any more parts for them. But there's nothing, they're still workable. They're still working, so they're all good. It's just if they fail, just so we don't have to scramble to put a new unit in, because they can't get parts. And if they fail, then you're going to scramble and pay even more than this.
Yeah.
Because right now it's not a problem. Just trying to be proactive on it. Then the courthouse one is to change out was 4602. That one's probably more important right now because I got spare parts for most of the one in the jail. It's the one here in the courthouse. We don't have any spare parts, and they discontinued that whole panel completely.
They're different systems.
Yeah, they're different systems. We could look at trying to get a system that ties all of them tie together, but I don't think we need to. But we could. And then they were requesting to update their camera, like 1 or 2 cameras over in the jail to digital, $356 a piece. They have the infrastructure there. Just right now, only 1 camera over there records, and that's the booking camera. And they were requesting to try to get at least the day areas. There'd be 3 other cameras to be replaced. Then the last page was Butte
Good.
Security, how much they were at, they were saying the courthouse is gonna be, which was 6,859, and NICO, which is out of Helena, and they've been pretty good, is 4602. So it's almost half.
What is the name of that company, the 4602?
NICO,
Oh, okay.
NICO Electronic Systems, they have a fire system over in the dinner hall.
Okay.
They do that one.
Oh, I see, that's.
They've
the
been
second
around for a
page.
while, yeah.
Okay.
Those are the only things I can see coming up, would be the fire systems. And then all the paint of the dinner hall, the paint's peeling on the walls, on the outside of the back of the building.
So I was noticing, Mike, on the bottom of the Butte Security bid, says it will be tied to the 911 dispatch office for monitoring. So are they combining the systems? Is that what they're doing?
No. They're already tied to dispatch. This is already tied.
Oh, it is.
When it goes off, it just sends a signal over there saying there's a fire alarm in the courthouse. It doesn't tell them where at.
Oh, I got you, okay.
It'd be the same thing.
All right.
Because it's the system over here tells you what pull station happened or what smoke detector went off or whichever. It'd still be the same way.
Gotcha.
It is likely that since it is already tied to dispatch, that the system could be a grant. So the 911, we learned this last Monday, the 911 grant fund that was started by the legislature, every submittal last year for those funds was approved in full. This could be one that could get submitted and likely approved. The same with the camera system. I know it's not that much money, it's related to what we have. But the Board of Crime Control does have grants, and counties have been recipients of those grants in the past. Park County, the last one I can name off the top of my head, and that was for a full system. But with our planning, it's certainly something we can look at, but I just think it should be out there that this is a known grant, and likelihood of getting this grant would be, I think, pretty high based on how much it is for. No, it'd be the same for both of them, I think. And any time, I know grants are, it's a headache to write them and to do the reports, but anytime we can take that burden off of our taxpayers, I think it's a benefit to the county overall, and most certainly to those taxpayers.
So on my budget, that's the only thing I'm asking for is Eric to be increased and a little increase on the utilities, that's it.
Looks like a good budget.
Well, we're been able to keep pretty good control of it.
Yeah,
It's helped a lot with controlling the heat in the building.
yeah, I know that's a heavy lift, but it's,
Yeah.
you've done a good
It's
job.
it's a big expense, this building, on
Yeah.
utilities.
Yeah,
Along with utilities, how are you coming with the LED light changeover?
I got the halls all changed out, and I was thinking about doing a couple of rooms and see how people react to it
Mhm.
with the lighting. Maybe start with the county, maybe you guys' office, and see how you guys feel about it.
Okay.
I just don't wanna have it too bright or too, I'm not sure how people are gonna react to that, but it would, but it would help on savings later on.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm happy to be a guinea pig.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
We'll do it.
it's,
I know.
it's a pretty minute cost for what the savings could be. I mean, your payback's like in 3 months. So,
I started
That's
it
huge.
in my own place after you did here. I thought, that's probably pretty smart, so
yeah,
I did the changeover, and it's different light,
it is.
but It's a bright light,
It is a bright light.
yeah, I like it, actually.
I do too.
It's an energizing light.
Okay,
I'm always looking for different ways to help save. It's kind of like, you know, Debbie Buck's been pretty good at helping a few things that she sees and
sure.
what she takes care of. And we've cut a lot of the costs out.
I know you've been working with the sheriff on the water savings system.
Yeah.
Where are you at in that?
I still gotta crunch numbers.
Okay,
I gotta get that more fine tuned before I answer on that one.
okay.
Right now, it doesn't feel like it's a huge payback. It's, I think it's a long term,
Maybe
real
long
long term.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if we just phase it in or,
Mhm.
doing it all at once, I don't think would be a wise idea at this point. I'll look into it a little bit more.
When you're looking at that, are you looking simply at your water meter, or you're also figuring your propane use on that?
Mostly just the water meter. I haven't really looked at the propane use.
So that would be another added savings, though, would
It
it
would
not,
be.
not from running the heaters all the time?
Yeah, that's a good idea, look at the propane cost too on that. Might have to, well, that's about the only thing, in the winter, in the summer, it'd be easy to figure out my propane costs, because that's the only thing that's running.
Sure.
It's not running the HVAC. So it would be, I could figure that out probably in this month of June, because they're not heating no more, they're almost strictly on economizing and HVAC and cooling, mechanical cooling.
So if you went with this, this system out of Eleanor, would they give us another discount if we did both of them, or these are bottom line prices on both?
No, I could always ask for discounts, everybody, you know, doesn't hurt to ask. I could
And
get,
then, are all of these, everything that we're getting in each system is interchangeable with the other system?
yeah, and also anybody can get the parts, not just suctioned to one company, cause a lot of times these fire systems, they sell like fire suppression systems, they sell one style, that they're the only ones who can get the parts, and we're stuck with them doing any kind of repair work.
Okay.
Because we have to by state law to use them, because it's a public building for fires, kinda like elevator. We can't go into the elevator shafts or anything like that, inspect them.
Yeah. Did you take into account, you know, if we do purchase the Opportunity Bank building, the extra maintenance that you'll have to do there for your budget?
I think we can handle that,
Okay.
yes. At this point, I don't know how much maintenance there'll be in that building. I mean, there's gonna be an initial cost of the, some of the remodel work in back there in the ambulance bays.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't know, I won't have a feel for that for probably a year of how much, if there's any.
Will you take over paying the utilities for that, like you do?
That would have to be talked about, that will have to be an extra cost in my budget for that, yes. I don't know, normally I haven't been paying for the utilities outside this building,
Sure.
so we'd have to figure that out. I don't think we've come to that point quite yet, have we? Or,
No,
yeah.
I just kinda wondered what you've done in the past.
But
You know, and I think that didn't Allison pay for her utilities? We helped her.
No,
You guys helped her, didn't you?
The commission paid 100%.
Okay,
But what we've talked about this year is giving an extra 0.5 mil to extension, specifically to help balance her budget and pay for those utilities.
we haven't got a cost on their utilities from them yet, have we? Opportunity Bank, we can get a cost from them, then you're gonna have an idea yearly cost.
right.
Yeah.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that.
And it's my hope too, I do have an email from Tyler that I will forward to you, but it's my hope that with our remodel, we can also do something to make it a little bit more energy efficient.
I can always contact Tyler and have him send me maybe a copy of all the last maybe 2 years of what their utilities cost.
That'd be
And
great.
then it'd give me an idea of what,
Yeah.
and then plus it'll give me an idea where we can find savings too.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to know that.
Yeah.
Do you wanna include any of that, any work that you foresee over there on the CIP for that building?
I don't think so, I think with the extra in their loan you guys were talking about, that
Should
would
much-
cover, should
much
cover
cover.
everything that we
Okay,
Yeah.
need to do.
all right, very good.
And then, safety budget, I mean, I'm just new to that budget, so I don't know everything that you guys wanna do on that budget. If it covers getting safety equipment for people, or is it just covering just the meetings? Is the safety equipment up to each individual department to buy it? Or is it up to the safety budget to get things that need to be done for personal safety?
Well, I think it should be your recommendation, but I think it's up to the departments to
That's what I would think,
provide their own
okay,
equipment.
cause it could get out of hand,
Yeah.
Right,
so.
I have a question. If you were talking about the safety committee, like personal protective equipment, because I'm writing that policy, so I kinda need to know, I actually initially put in there that the safety committee chairman would make that stuff available, but if you want me to make it individually to departments, I can do that,
Mhm.
if that's what Mike wants.
Yeah, I think,
that's good to know, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, if
because
we,
that will change everybody's budget, you know.
right,
Some of it's not so bad and some of it's a little expensive depending on what you need.
I think solid waste, roads, my department, weeds, all have safety built into their budget, safety
Yeah,
equipment.
and my department has shields and masks and, coveralls, all the stuff that we would need for our department is already stocked in our department, so, okay.
I think that's about it, except for one thing. Or I can talk about later.
Yes, Council.
I have a question with the safety stuff. Being upstairs with our district court having open court law motion on Fridays, is this maybe something that we could look into, like a metal detector at the door? Just a small one, like at the courtroom coming in? To put in the budget?
probably something to have a discussion about, following up on,
Yeah, I can look
Or even
into,
a wand, something?
I can look into the cost of something like that. What it would cost,
yeah, we should have a discussion,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And then your hours spent on safety should come out of this budget,
Okay,
save your maintenance budget.
alright. Yeah, 'cause we charge solid waste and roads when we work there for our hours.
Right, exactly, same thing, yeah. And then what has funded this in the past has been the savings that we have in our, insurance premium from the low mod factor. We get a rebate check every year.
How's things going with, Dr. Campbell's doing?
Good.
Yeah.
I did a few of the things on the outside. He said he was gonna paint it,
Okay.
so,
Okay.
and I've taken care of their lighting inside,
All right.
and I don't think there was anything
Did we
else.
get the doors adjusted? They were kind of sprung open there a little bit.
They're not sprung open anymore. I think it's cause it's
Oh,
summertime
might have been-
compared to winter.
Winter might have been a factor in it. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
expansion and contraction.
sure.
And they haven't really asked for anything else. I know that they have, their HVAC seem to be working, but they're not working very well. And I think it's because they need a charge.
Sure.
So that was Dawn when all that was going on, and I'll address that here this next week or so.
Thanks. I know, I just passed on to you that there's some comments from several people that they appreciate the work that you did there, so.
Yeah, thank you. And there's only one other thing I have to go over. It's not really to do with my budget, but it was the health department. I had them put a data logger, just updating you, they put a data logger and they found that there's only one line going in. And I have Josh right now working on prioritizing their phone calls over their internet.
Okay.
But we can also increase their internet usage over there. It's like, right now they're paying $75 a month for 3 to 1.5. We can go to $160 a month, which is about double. 10 meg to 5 meg, which might solve the rest of their problems. So,
What was Blackfoot supposed to guarantee them?
you're supposed to what?
Wasn't Blackfoot supposed to guarantee them a specific amount?
Yeah, they're getting 3 to 1.5. That's all that was in the contract for them. And before they had two lines coming in, whatever, I think we talked about that.
We did.
And now there's only one line, and that's the problem. Is that they're nothing prioritized, and so I have Josh right now working on trying to prioritize the router for just the phones first, so they don't drop their calls or miss, it'll make their internet go slower too.
So if they were to increase their data, it would be an additional cost to.
Yeah, it looks like about what would be about $90.
$90 a month, from 75 to 90.
No, 75 to 160.
Oh.
But I'm looking into that more.
All right.
Thanks for that.
That's all I got.
All right. CIP wise, I'm gonna ask another couple questions. So you don't foresee anything on the courthouse building, the detention center,
I
the
don't.
other county buildings that we need to?
Okay, there is one, I guess there is one. And I don't see it being an immediate emergency, but it might be in the next 5 years.
Okay,
Is we need to probably think about the roof over there, the rubber roof.
on the detention center?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's something that we need to put in there.
Yeah, I've sealed up and repatched all of the seams, or most of the seams, about a year ago, and it's doing well. But still, they did the thinnest material they could up there when they installed it.
So would that be a replacement?
Be a replacement or something different we need to look into.
And so you're gonna give that kind of what, of a priority? Do you wanna give that a medium priority?
By medium priority.
Okay.
I did forget about that.
Okay. You said 5 years?
Yeah, within the next 5 years.
Okay.
We need to start thinking about that one. Other than that, I don't see anything on the exteriors, roofs. I had all the roofs replaced and the 2 HVACs replaced about, what, 2 years ago?
Not too long ago.
With the hail damage we had.
Sure.
I worked with Mako to get that all taken care of. Didn't increase our rates or anything,
Right.
which was nice.
Good enough. Yeah, if you can find time to get an estimate for that replacement, then we'll
Okay.
put that into the,
Alright,
okay, thank you, Mike.
alright. Alrighty,
Thank you.
thanks.
Shoot, thanks, Mike. Public health.
Good morning, everyone. So, I apologize, I did not copy a budget. I sent it to Debbie and thought you would have a copy. Did you?
Yes, I
You
did.
should have been emailed a copy. But basically, you know, initially we don't put wages on there anyway. We just do, you know, what kind of things are changing in our department, you know, whether utilities go up. You know, some of our training costs have went down, because I've taken a lot of the trainings, and stuff like that. So I mainly just adjusted, you know, basic operating supplies and stuff, for all 5 of my funds. For the FEP grant, or the bio grant, we did get an increase of almost $3,000.
Nice.
Yes. And then for maternal child health, we only got $83, but last year, if you remember right, we lost like 400. So any increase in MCH is a good thing. One thing I'm really excited about is our homemaker respite program. We did get that back again. I wrote that grant last year, like in October, and we got that grant, but we didn't know if we would get it again. And we did, and that was $4,500 grant. And our homemaker program is very much needed in the county. We have a lot of people that could be on it. The problem that we're running into is with Geraldine can't go over 30 hours because she's a part-time employee. But we now have more hours because of the new money. And so I visited with Debbie a little bit about, you know, maybe hiring somebody just very, very part-time. I have a couple ladies that would be really interested in it, even 10 hours a week. But I know the last couple years, the homemaker budget goes in the hole, and then we end up, you know, putting money into it from the general fund. Well, that's not gonna happen now. So that's good, so that saves us whatever money that we went in the hole. So I'm pretty excited about this. I have a couple ladies that want to do that, so with your permission, I kinda like to pursue that. It's not gonna cost us any more money to have one more person, because they're part-time, you know, and the need is out there. And since, you know, we're not doing WIC and we're focusing on seniors, I think we really, that is one place I think we can really focus. I have a meeting this Friday with RMDC again, about a home health program. So, I don't know much about it. I know other counties have it. I've visited with other program directors, and, you know, they do get some money from the state to go, for example, do med setups, or just check on somebody maybe that just got out of the hospital and just needs a little nursing care. I think our community really needs that, because number one, all of our personal care, home health, and hospice has to come out of Helena. So if we just could have just a little small nursing service, you know, not for everybody, but a small nursing service where Heather and I could go out and see people, you know, on a short-term basis, just to get them back on their feet. I think that would be a big benefit to our community. And so I have a meeting with them on Friday, see if I can get a grant for that. Also on Friday, our CHIP grant is due, and our CHIP grant follows our community health assessment grant, which I did in 2017. So the next step is your improvement plan, and you have to do it within 5 years. So since we don't have our WIC funds anymore, we're gonna do it now. We're gonna do it right now. She was thinking that we were a small county, but we're actually a frontier county, so I think I can actually get more than $5,000. The gal that is the administrator of the grant, she said, "Oh, you're a small county, so I would maybe go for like 5,000. Well, we're not. We're a frontier county, so that should get us actually a couple more $1,000s. So if we can do that, I mean, I know that we can get the 5, but you know, whether we can get a little bit more,
Nice.
that'd be exciting. Yeah, and so I'm gonna working on the budget for that and writing the grant, and then Heather's gonna do all the work. She doesn't have a lot of experience writing grants, so it'll be a learning opportunity for her as well. And she did do one grant that was more like an application for the senior coupons for the farmer's market. So that wasn't, you know, it doesn't all have to be about money, but that's like, there really isn't much money left. It really is just kind of for the seniors. And so, but that's a good thing. What other points did I want to make? So other than that, I know we talked about at my evaluation that we still have 8,000, find that piece of paper, over $8,000 in cash left in WIC, and to my knowledge, that is ours. We have made all of our obligations to WIC, although I would prefer to leave that in there until their fiscal year, which is September 30th. I think that would just be a good idea. I don't want to switch that money over to another fund and then have something go wrong. But we've been done with WIC for several months. I've contacted our contractor, registered dietitian. We're all paid up with that. We're all paid up with Karen over in Boulder. We really don't have any other expenses. So that is just money, you know, that is a cash amount of money in that fund. And I think we talked about, you know, we're losing that grant, but the amount of money that we had to put in from general was a lot just to maintain that program. So kind of doing the pluses and the minus things, and it really doesn't actually work out to be that bad.
Didn't you say before that we were spending about $18,000 a year to support WIC?
Yes, we were.
Okay.
And the grant was only $28,000, so then we had to put that much money in out of the general fund just to make that program work. Because the way WIC operates is, you know, they give you 15 minutes per visit twice a year, and then one is like a 30-minute visit. And some of those visits take 2 hours. Well, that's not budgeted.
Right.
Computer shutdowns are not, you know, when the computer program doesn't work, you know, and it takes you 4 hours to see a client. So that's where all that extra money comes in, you know, is just problem areas. And it happens a lot with their software. It's ancient and it needs to be replaced. But that's kind of water under the bridge now. I'm glad that they're still going to have it here. We are, as soon as I heard they were starting on the 16th, so I kind of want to go over and meet with them and just say, you know, do you have some cards we can give out, so we have kind of partnership with them going forward with that. Cause we've had a couple people stop in and say, I need to sign up for WIC. And so we give them all the information. But now if I can just say, you know, they're at the wellness center, here's how you make an appointment, here's a card, you know, and just like our goals, just try to work more closely with the hospital and coordination of services. That's what it's about. Okay, immunization, that did not change, probably never will change. It's the same amount of money every year. But we did get increases in the other ones, so that, that's encouraging. So, I know we talked about a ton of stuff, during my evaluation, money-wise, but basically as far as just the budget and expenses go, other than just general increases, I don't expect that our budget will change that much. You know, looking at it, you're gonna have to take that $28,000 from WIC out, but as I explained, we made that up. You know, the money we have to put in to support that program, the money we still have in there, and some of the grants that we've done are more than making up for that. So it's a matter of just kind of switching around the FTEs. So, you know, I'm just gonna help Heather work on some grants. So if we get the CHIP grant, hopefully we can get between $5,000 and $7,000 for that. There is a couple other grants that haven't started yet. I do plan on looking into them. It's just been really wild and crazy over there, lately. So, I didn't even think I was gonna be able to make my appointment. It was crazy. Shingrix is a big money maker for us, insurance wise, and then of course we got that grant from the Community Health Foundation, which was awesome. And then the bike rodeo went over really well. We were reimbursed for the entire cost of that from FICMER. And we've had so much feedback on it, we want to do it again.
Excellent.
We might not get the grant, may or may not, but I've had so many people tell me, I'll donate, I'll give you a bike, I'll, you know, whatever I can do to make this happen again. So we did pick that for a prevention activity again. We kind of set the bar pretty high because we had a lot of money. So we might be knocking on doors to see if we can get some. But it was, we actually had more people at our event than they did in Helena.
Wow.
Yeah. Because the Child Care Connections people, they go all over the state and they're the ones that give the free helmets and fittings and stuff. And she said, well, how many kids we planned on 50 kids and we did 42 or 43. And she said, that's more than Helena had. So I think it's worth doing again. I really do. And the kids are talking about it. And so it's a good deal. It is.
You did good, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any capital improvement? My building really is fairly sound. I know we talked about the windows. The office where I moved in the back. You know, it was literally blowing through that wind and it was freezing in there in the wintertime. But Mike replaced that. We had an estimate of about $17,000, which would take way too long to make up that money in electricity and gas costs. So Mike decided to just, you know, kind of do them one here and there. And that's totally fine with me. It's mainly the big ones that are leaking. The little ones are pretty sound and, you know.
So you still have some to go yet?
Pardon?
You still have some windows to go yet?
Yes, we do. Yeah, he only got one done.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's worth putting on the CIP, just so we have.
Okay, yeah, I thought I would just put it on there. You know, the original estimate was quite high from an actual window guy, you know.
Yeah.
But Mike did a great job putting that window in there. And this is the truth. When he took the trim off, that hole,
There was no nails in it. It fell out and it wasn't insulated. Yeah, is he still here? Right.
Yeah.
It was gonna fall out if the trim came off.
I have
So-
the windows already paid for. I just have to find time.
It paid off. It's a lot warmer in there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, anyway, but that's not an urgent thing, but we can put it on the,
Yeah.
capital improvement. Other than that, you know, we're good. I mean, we did some remodeling when I first started working there, and I think our clinic looks sharp, it's clean. I mean, unless there's something structurally that we need,
Nope,
I
your
don't
roof
think
has been
so.
replaced, your
Yeah.
gutters are good, we had them replaced here a couple years ago.
yeah,
I'm just replacing the windows slowly, and I have a little bit of spare time.
right.
Very good, sounds good. Can you update us, Teresa, on the school nurse? Your letter did you send your letter?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
Did
you.
you send your letter to the school yet?
Yes, I have not had a response.
No response?
No response.
Okay.
I'm glad you brought that up. I actually did some telephone surveys, with some of my peers, with schools that have approximately 600 students. Most of them are run on a mill levy. If they don't, they subcontract out their nursing, and they pay between $6,000 and $12,000 a year. Yikes. I really didn't think it would be that much, because I was just adding up what our time was costing, you know, but actually wasn't figuring in our benefits or anything. You know, that was just a straight across the board what we're paying for wages to do the school stuff. But most of those schools, and there's just a multitude, and I just picked the ones with, you know, there's 8 or 10 of them that were just right around our size, 56 to 6,000 people in the county. And they said, I told them what I was doing and what we do, and they're like, what? You do that? And I said, yeah, well, it's just been that way forever. I said, but it's just getting hard to operate when you have to take, you know, half an FTE to do the school. That's a lot of money. It is. So I'm hoping that we can negotiate some money there from the school, at least to cover our costs, because my department is paying out all that money that the school should be paying out, and they do in every other county. So, some of their school nursing programs are run by a mill levy. It just depends on how your county does their mills, you know. So all of them were a little bit different, but wage-wise, for an on-call nurse that does all the immunizations, and then she's kind of on call in case there's like an emergency, which we absolutely would be. I mean, we're there from Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If the school had an emergency, I would run over there in a heartbeat. That wouldn't be a problem. But it's just the unbelievable time-consuming vaccination stuff. Reporting to the state and issuing blue cards, and they can't go to school without a blue card, and we have to issue them. Either that, or the school is gonna have to spend a lot of money training somebody. They still should be approved by a nurse, because, you know, lay people can say, they can write down what the computer says, but the computers aren't always right. And, you know, there might be some vaccines in there that aren't right, so you have to have a nurse look at that stuff. So my hope is that they'll get back to us, we can meet, and we can come to an agreement, and that certainly will help fund our health department.
That
I'm
might
glad
be
you brought that
something
up.
we wanna look at maybe in July, not too long, but it's very possible that things just got crazy with graduation, the end of the school year,
Oh,
and then June,
yeah.
when, you know, the brain cells are trying to reignite.
Yeah.
So maybe if we wait till early July and then revisit
Okay.
and see what the response is, and then
Sure.
go from there.
Mm-hmm.
That works.
Yeah.
That was sent beginning in May, roughly.
Yeah, May 10th.
May tenth, okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
And Ann said we should consider sending it sooner, and she's always the voice of brilliance. So we might want to send it next week.
I agree. Oh, goodness. So, and as you all know, we got a $49-something grant we got 2 new computers, we got a new refrigerator, and everything went up. You know, we estimated these costs a whole year ago, and then stuff went up. Our computers were gonna be obsolete, so they were coming out of the general fund this year. DIS wouldn't even work on them anymore. They were like, you get new computers, or, you know, we can't do anything about it. So we did get that, so we got 2 brand new computers. They were $3,400 with all the programs and stuff. We got a new refrigerator, cause that one it's making noise and kind of on its last leg. And, you know, if your refrigerator goes out and you have $20,000 worth of vaccines in there, there's gone. You can't recover them. Like most of the companies will give you money back if the vaccine expires, but if you ruin it, you're on your own.
Yeah.
There's not really an insurance policy for that. So we have to make sure that that's going. So the money, I asked for a generator too, but then the increase in costs kind of took up the money for the generator, and I thought, well, we have 3 generators at our house, so, we can use one of them if the power goes out. Or we have an MOU with the hospital to transfer our vaccines over there as well.
Oh, good,
So-
okay.
I just thought, when I was thinking about the grant, that it would be good for sheltering, it would be good for American Red Cross, it would be good for us, anybody that needed a generator, in the county could borrow it, as long as it was free. So, I have a few days, my printer's kind of going to heck, it's pretty old too, and so I thought maybe I might ask Kevin if I can spend the rest of that money on a printer. All that has to be completed by June 30th, so that they can get the money out, and apply it to the fiscal year. So I might end up getting a new printer, but this is, other than the generator, this is stuff I would have had to spend out of my account. I would have had to, there was really no choice. So getting that money was a blessing, it really was a blessing. So,
We have 3 generators. DES we have them in the generator shed that we maintain every year.
oh,
So we could just take and bring one down and leave it down there for you. If something happens, then it's accessible.
yeah. My biggest worry is that, if we have an electrical storm and the power goes out for 6 hours, they
Yeah.
won't maintain the vaccines for that long.
We got 3 of them in there. We run them all the time to make sure they stay good, in good operation. And we put stabilizer on them every year. We can bring one down and leave it down there. There's no sense in store it down there or store it in the generator shed.
Yeah. Yep.
It's emergency services.
Sure.
I know.
Hey,
Nice.
Teresa, so what's your protocol on monitoring all your vaccinations? So say you're gone on the weekend or whatever, power goes out, how do you know? Is there a monitoring system?
Well,
or-
there isn't a policy, and so basically, if we're home and the whole power goes out, I can't even tell you how many trips I've made down there
Right.
at 11 o'clock at night. If we have a thunderstorm and our power goes out at home, and we're not even on the same grid, but it just freaks me out, I run down to the clinic and make sure that power didn't go out, so the refrigerators, usually they come right back on, but there could be an occasion where it wouldn't
Sure.
work for some reason, so,
So right now, it's just kind of you guys monitoring, keeping an eye on it.
yeah. they take precautions, we have big water bottles in there. So if the door is not opened, it will maintain the temperature a lot longer. Within a safe, the range is pretty good for the refrigerator. The freezer, not so much, it has to stay frozen, but, yeah, there really isn't, I've never found a protocol for that. You know, I mean, the sheriff's department has way too much to do, but they're on the same grid, so if they lost power, we would be losing power. So,
They
but
may
it's
not
just
know
one
they
more
lost
thing.
Power, because their generator should kick on theoretically, right, Mike? And they not know that you guys are out of power.
Well,
Right.
They know it by the flicker of the lights.
Yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. But we've had refrigerator problems before, and I go down there like on the weekends 2 or 3 times, just to make sure that everything's good.
I guess I'm just curious, I'm just thinking out loud here, Mike, if we upgrade our alarm systems, is that something that can be included in loss of electricity, or?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about that. I wonder if NICO or somebody can come up with, has some kind of monitoring system for the refrigerator. I can make a couple calls.
Yeah. I just,
Yeah,
just a thought.
Yeah, and then have 4 or 5 people as a phone list. If power goes out for a duration, they can come out and start generators, plug it in.
Yeah, cause there's times, you know, when we first get our flu vaccines, we probably have $40,000 worth of vaccines in there.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
investment worth in protecting, for sure.
It's a huge loss. Yeah, that's why I'm so paranoid about run down there. I would rather do that than lose that vaccine. So, yeah, we got new data loggers, which also got paid for by the end of the year money. You know, we aren't gonna get that money probably till July, but it's coming. And we had to get the data loggers back in October because the other ones were expiring. So they were $409 or something like that. I did put that in that grant, and we are gonna get reimbursed for that as well. They do have an alarm on them, but if you're not in the building,
Sure.
you don't hear the alarm. So, and the ones that had Wi-Fi capability were really expensive, so I didn't get that. You could always switch, I guess. If, you know, if an alarm system costs too much, you know, we could go to the Wi-Fi thing. But then, you know, there's good things and bad things about that. That's why most people didn't go with the Wi-Fi ones, because we all had to get them. All 56 counties had to get new data loggers because the state just wasn't going to pay for them anymore. So we had to purchase them ourselves. And very few counties went with the Wi-Fi ones that notify you by phone that you have a temperature excursion, because if you have just a little bit of an excursion, your phone goes off. So they're a little bit too sensitive, but
Maybe with time that will be perfected,
maybe,
yeah.
yeah. Our old data loggers were like, I think from the 1920s, I don't know. They're old. These are a lot nicer. So,
Teresa, what's your thinking about the phones and internet?
oh, Laura. Well, this morning we got there, couldn't even get on. It was probably 9 o'clock for our internet, before anything would even load on our computers. Our phones worked, but it just would sit and spin. We had no internet connection whatsoever. And then about 9 o'clock, everything started winding up. So, it's just not a good situation. First, it was like 5 weeks that our phones didn't work. And they seem to be better now, but now our internet is so slow, and like even if you go to lunch and you come back and you turn on your computer, it just seems like it takes forever to fire it up. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on there.
So if we went to the higher $160 a month, to get you better service. And I think we need to double check our contract, cause I think you should be with the rest of us at 100 by 100. But if we paid the 160 to get you at least increased, that would be a good thing for you, right?
It probably would, yeah.
Okay. And your budget is strong enough, I think it's easily affordable.
I think it is, yeah. I think it is, you know, because, you know, when I put all those numbers down on paper, you know, with the WIC extra money, not taking 18,000 out of the general fund, the grants that we're doing, and the free stuff we got, basically, to me, that's like revenue, because we didn't have to take that out of the general fund, that $5,000. So that's huge. And we plan on working on more senior stuff and nursing service and stuff. It just takes time. I mean, this stuff doesn't happen in 2 months. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And we kind of just wrapped up the WIC thing like a couple months ago. So we just need time. And I know we can do it. I know we can. Heather's really a go-getter, and she does whatever I ask her to, and if she doesn't understand it, she asks questions. She's not afraid at all to call the state and say, hey, I don't get this. She did a fantastic job on Midas, and Midas is not an easy, that's our communicable disease program. It's not easy. Everybody hates Midas. But then when they added the flu stuff this year, it got even more intense because we had 75 cases of flu. We just had one Friday.
Oh my gosh.
Yikes.
You would think June would
Influenza
have an
A.
influence. Wow.
So,
About measles. About the measles.
no measles, no mumps.
I know there's a huge outbreak right now.
Yeah, we're lucky considering that it's all around us.
Yeah.
So I guess the only other thing that I think, that I would like to see that will affect our budget, as you know, I did some wage, things that our wage thing didn't cover, and a lot of my peers were really awestruck at the amount of money I was making with 33 years of experience. And so I really feel like that to continue to do this, it's a hard job, it's a big job, that I'm gonna have a raise this year. I went to bat for my staff because I really felt like they were super underpaid. But now I know the program, I know what I'm doing, I have the experience now in public health and 33 years of experience, so I think it's time.
And it wouldn't be a raise, it would be a market adjustment.
Okay.
It would- Yeah, and that's actually very important to differentiate the word, because there's a Me Too clause in union contracts, so any raise is given to everyone in the union.
Okay.
But a market adjustment based on a scientific wage matrix is allowed because it's a totally different thing.
Okay.
So, yeah, we would be looking at a market adjustment for you, just like
Okay.
we did with your staff a couple of years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All my other jobs, it was just a raise that you got at your evaluation. But a market adjustment for that. I think that I've proven that I can manage my budget. The last 2 years have done a good job with Debbie's help, of course, but we saved a lot of money in public health for the last 2 years, so and I want to continue to do that, and but I just feel like I'm when I see what the Montana base wage is for a nurse without experience is $3 more than I'm making, and I have 33 years of experience and 3 years in public health now, so I guess I just feel like I feel like it's time and I deserve it. I hope you agree.
Thank you.
Any
And-
other questions?
What we'll do is we'll put that and all your requests into the June
Okay,
bucket, and then let you know.
okay, sounds
All right.
good.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Thanks,
And
Susan.
good work.
Thank you for your.
thanks.